Coming up next is Terry Payne with some public information you might find interesting.
Each winter, the City of Hot Springs faces the same issues regarding fire safety. And here to talk about those issues and how we can keep people safe in Hot Springs is Fire Marshal Sean Labor, as well as Electrical Inspector David Gray of our Planning and Development Department. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you.
Now, what are the issues that you see out there from one winter to the next, Nate?
Generally, Terry, every winter during the holiday season into the cold weather, fires start to ramp up here in Hot Springs. Generally, they are caused and determined to be electrical in nature most of the time. And there's always the same theme, generally, of misuse of certain devices in the home. That's why we brought David to maybe help us out on how to use certain things. Generally, misuse of extension cords is a big cause of fires. We see a lot of light fixtures, devices that overheat and catch things on fire. So basically, there's a lot of ifs and wonders about how to use these properly. I see them used in all forms and fashions. So maybe, David, you could take over and maybe explain to us and the homeowners the best way, the safest way to use extension cords. There's so many types and sizes that how do we know what to use and use it properly?
Well, one thing that you see in the wintertime is you see.
Just go ahead and pick it up. Now start from the very beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's got to be a little closer, both of you guys.
All right. One thing you see in the wintertime is people start using space heaters. And what happens there is they start using extension cords and plug these in, and most of the time they usually use one of these little 2-wire extension cords similar to this right here. And these aren't for appliances that create a lot of heat, like a space heater or even a microwave or a coffee pot. They're more like if you've got a box fan or maybe some sort of light, a lamp or something like that. They need to get, well, first off, on space heaters, they're not listed to be on an extension cord. So they shouldn't even be using an extension cord with a space heater. But if they have to use an extension cord for other appliances that you can put an extension cord on, then they need to use something a little more heavy duty, like this one here. And this one right here is listed for outdoor use also. And but they need to try to stay away from this little brown cord right here for any type of appliances, because they generate heat, and the cord heats up, and this one isn't big enough to handle that.
Now, what about this, David? Any comments regarding this device?
The power strip, as most people know it, a lot of people use these at Christmas time for their Christmas lights, and they're good to use. There's nothing wrong with these. They can use these instead of the extension cord. A lot of them have this little reset button, or it's kind of like a breaker that when it reaches a certain amperage, where in this case this is 15 amps, that this will trip and you can reset it. So you probably need to unplug something. You got too much of a load on it. But there's nothing. These are handy to use right here. They can use these. The only thing they can't do is plug other ones into it. You know, like daisy chain. Plug this one in, plug another power strip, and another. They shouldn't do that. That's not recommended.
Yeah, we see that very commonly. Like what David was saying, these, I call them zip cords. You can buy them at the dollar store. They're a couple of dollars, and that's basically all they're worth, because they take a lot of load and they just overheat rapidly. If I can recommend one thing about extension cord, is try to avoid the use of those. I call them zip cords. Generally, green in color means for outdoor use. The thicker they are, the more voltage they can withstand. One last thing I'd like to say is, for your best protection, regardless of what fire hazard we're dealing with, is the use of smoke detectors in your home. I can't say how invaluable they are. Make sure the batteries are changed, tested once a month. The Hot Springs Fire Department does offer free smoke detectors. All you have to do is come down and pick one up, and if you have a neighbor or elderly person that you're aware of, we'd be glad to give them one. If they need help installing them, we can do that too. Another thing you can do to protect yourself is make sure your address is posted on your house. It really speeds up our response time to that home, and those are two things, along with the safe use of extension cords, and and things like that, you can keep your home safer.
Can we touch on light fixtures as well?
Sure,
I see you
David,
have.
would you touch on that?
I see you have something there.
Well, that's another thing. A lot of people don't realize that when light fixtures have a maximum wattage for the lamp that you screw in here, and some people, when they see that they don't have enough light, they will just put a bigger bulb in, and that takes care of the problem. But what they don't realize is that it creates a lot of heat in the light fixture, and I have one example here where one has been used over many years where the lamp has discolored the fixture itself. You can see how it's changed colors inside here and how the sockets turned colors. The wires even changed colors. And on the back side, you can see how it's started to overheat the wiring that's tied into it. So this is what happens. All this heat just goes up. It just goes up. It rises into the box and stays there. This is a fixture that didn't have the insulation in it, and the heat just goes here. But what they have now is they have the compact fluorescent bulbs that you can get that's a lower wattage, but actually
Commander, can you come to the DO's
actually
office,
puts out the same amount of light as a incandescent lamp. For example, a 23 watt compact fluorescent puts out the same amount of light as a 100 watt incandescent bulb. So you can see you're saving money as well as still getting the same amount of light. And I was going to show this receptacle right here. This is one we took out of a house where it had caught fire from having something plugged into it that created heat, and it wasn't in there very good, and over time it just eventually arcs in there, and it eventually will catch fire.
Those are some great winter safety tips. Sorry we're out of time, but this is definitely something that the public can use if they've got any questions. Nate, how can they reach you at the fire department?
Call the fire marshal's office anytime at 321-6977 in regards to any fire safety advice or tips that we can offer.
Great. Well, Nate, David, thanks for joining us. And
Thank
next
you.
week,
Thank you.
we'll bring you more city news.